A series of studies are showing that working moms are still bearing most of the burden of lockdowns and the COVID-19 pandemic. So, have we thrown decades of slow progress out of the window? What can companies do in future to help women and working moms? Our futurist Graeme Codington joins us with more on this. Graeme, good evening to you. I mean, so many people have been making this point, that what you see is that people in the middle classes are often working from home. The fathers go and hide themselves in the study. The moms are the ones stuck trying to work and stuck with the kids.
Absolutely, Stephen. As you say, a number of studies have been done around the world. I'm not aware of any specific studies in the last few weeks in South Africa, but one really caught my attention this week from the Institute for Women's Policy Research in Washington that looked across a variety of countries, and there really is a perfect storm for working women and working moms in particular. As you say, often the duty of childcare falls more on the mother than the father if both parents are at home, and that's certainly a factor. But there are now other factors, especially related to COVID. So, for example, the industries that are most likely to be affected in terms of people not going back to work because they're still closed, this is travel, tourism, hospitality, events, and so on. Those obviously are hugely dominated by women. And so even as many of the rest of us are able to go back to work, a lot of women are not. If childcare is required and a family has to decide which of the parents goes back to work, women, as we know, do earn typically for the same jobs, they earn less than men do. A global number is around 80% of what men do. So if a family is making the decision between two salaries and one parent has to stay at home for childcare, it's often the woman that has to stay at home. And also, women work in careers and professions that are often have hourly wages or part-time work, and those of course have been dramatically impacted at the moment. So there's a variety of different factors, as I say, almost a perfect storm around the world for women and especially working moms at the moment. And I don't think we've even seen the start of it really. As South Africa gets back to work, I think we're going to see the impact as mothers in particular say to their employers that it's almost too much with childcare needed at home and husbands possibly also needing support in their disruptive work. The pressure is really on working moms.
So what should employers be doing? Obviously they want to they will say that they want to take it into account. There's plenty of evidence that employers often don't.
Well, you know, I think this probably applies across the board to a lot of employees at the moment. You know, people under extraordinary stress at the moment. And if our only focus as employers is on productivity, you know, I've often used the analogy over the last few weeks of we're running a marathon at sprinting pace. And we're really asking a lot of our staff. So probably it's worthwhile for all employers to just take a step back and take a breather. But I think in particular for the mothers in your workforce, you're going to need to be thinking about what support you can give those moms, whether they need even more flexibility in terms of their hours than maybe other employees do, whether it is possible to allow them to work from home, again, maybe more than other employees. And it might be that right now you could earn huge loyalty and a huge response from those mothers if you were able to give them a few extra hours off a day, maybe a day extra a week, just in sort of free bonus leave, if you like, but certainly just in limiting the pressure that you're putting on them, realizing how much pressure is on them in their home environments.
Graeme Codington, thank you very much indeed, the futurist with us here. There's a conversation there as well, Kathy, about when schools go back and how things change then, and whether that relieves the burden, if at all, or if it simply doesn't.